ኦኬ ሰላም ኢትዮጵያን አውስትራሊያን ኔትወርክ ተከታታዮች እንዴት ከረማችሁ? ሰላም ናችሁ ወይ? ሎክዳውን እንዴት ነው? ያው ትንሽ ብለን ነበር። አሁን ደግሞ እስቲ በአዲስ እንትን ተመልሰን መጥተናል። የዛሬው እንግዳችን ኤደን ደሳለኝ ከሲድኒ። she's a young mom. I think she's a business woman and she studied Master of Business Management at UTS in Sydney. So I just wanted to ask her about who Eden is, where she come from, how long she's been in Australia, and all that. So thank you very much, Eden, for coming today to discuss this.
Thank you very much for having me.
I just would like to ask you just to tell us about yourself a little bit more.
Well, thank you so much. It's my honor to be here. I absolutely love sharing my experience with life and, this journey with everybody. So, everyone has more knowledge and, that equals to more power. So my name is Eden. I was born in Harar, then went to Addis before we moved to Australia when I was about 6 years old with my family. I've completed my education in Australia all the way to year 12, then obviously finished my university degree, a master's degree in business management, majoring in events, which then led me to opening my hair salon, which is specialized in braiding. We also do lots of kids parties where we do dancing and games and nail painting and a whole range of things. So that keeps me really busy. I have now almost a 2-year-old. My son is Kingston Desalegn. And I live here with my mom and Kingston, and we just love it. We absolutely love it here. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Eden. Okay. So you're born in Harar and then you just grown up in Addis.
Yes. Born in Harar, went to Addis when I was about maybe 2 or 3, and then we came to Australia when I was about 5 or 6. Yeah.
I born in Jigjiga too, so.
Oh, that's nice.
Good. I didn't know you were born in Harar. Anyway, I just wanted to ask you, now you are a young mom. You got your own business. How do you manage? How do you juggling? And then the funny thing is, you said Kingston, your son is Kingston Desalegn. Why do you call him under your father's name?
I guess that's tradition. Just following tradition. The name Kingston is because King is such a powerful name and he is the king of my life. So I just wanted to modernize it and put my own spin on it. And it's something that I really loved. And I just kept my father's name and just to keep it along.
Beautiful. Okay. So how do you juggling was work with Kingston?
Well, currently we're on lockdown, so that's just been a great time. I've actually enjoyed it. It's got me, working on my health and my fitness and focusing on other things. And I think we all just have to adapt to change. But prior to COVID, juggling business and being a mum is really, really challenging. It requires a lot of organization, a lot of focus, a lot of just planning. I purely live by my calendar. I write everything down the night before. I get everything prepared, my clothes, my clients, everything has its place, and just being super organized. Every morning I try and do a little morning routine, whether I do a little exercise, or lately I've started yoga, which is really exciting. But just to keep on top of everything, it's just about having balance, making sure that you are using your time correctly. We do have a lot of time in the day, and it's about utilizing it all properly to have, some time for your work, some time for your child, some time for yourself and for your family and partners and things like that. So just many, many years of practicing a balance and an organized routine.
Thank you very much. You used to do a lot of traditional Ethiopian New Year program, Skista program, because I follow you on Facebook. I know what you do, a couple of things. You are full of hand every time I see you, you're doing something different. And business-wise, for sure now, are you affected by this coronavirus? And locking down?
Yeah, so to touch on, dancing is a background that I've had since I was a young child. I've always been super passionate about it. I love escasta. I love modern, Afro, hip hop, salsa, samba, any type of dancing. I really, really love, which is why I incorporated it into my business as well to teach kids dancing as well. In terms of the business, last year we were an essential business, so we didn't close down. So I didn't actually feel any effect of the coronavirus. But this year, since we've been on lockdown about 2 months ago, I wasn't able to work. We're still on lockdown. And I just had to switch my mentality and think, since we can't work, we have to utilize this time to benefit ourselves. So what I did is I just, spent a lot more time with my son, focused on his physio. We'll touch on that a little bit later, and really focused on my internal health. When you're running a business and you're running a family, you don't really get a lot of time for yourself. And I know a lot of mothers and anyone who's really busy understands, but we don't really have time to have a morning routine or a face skin routine or time to exercise. So I've just delved in that and just taking care of myself and try not to focus so much on the negative side of it, but more so how can I make this situation benefit myself and my family.
Good. Is there any government support for the business?
Yes, thankfully, the New South Wales government has provided I think it's a Job Saver Fund, which it's not a lot, but it's still helpful for now, which I'm so, so grateful for. So right now we're just waiting until the lockdown is lifted, and then hopefully we'll be back to work and hopefully we'll be super busy. I've had so many of my clients message me throughout the lockdown asking when we're going to open, or, if I can open, but obviously I want to do the right thing and do things properly and just wait till the lockdown's lifted so we can reopen. But we will be ready and guns blazing when we do.
Yes. As you are a businesswoman and in your background studied business management as well, even myself, I want to do some business in the future. Is there any tip you can give us as an African woman, as an Ethiopian woman? Is there anything?
So many. Look, one of the most important things is to follow your passion and follow your heart's desire. Try not to go after just money. If you're just after money, it won't last long. So find something that you're truly passionate about, that makes you happy, that can give back to the community or the world, and really understand it. Really understand your surroundings, your market, your target market, basically. Understand the costs of things to make sure that you have a good profit margin. That's really important as well in business, and just understand the risks involved to make the right decisions to move forward. And don't be afraid to take a risk and to grow. People get into a business and then they just stay. And I think you just need to elevate and keep growing every time. And that's what I'm trying to do. I want to take the business online now. I want to start new things. So you just have to be innovative and not too fearful of what's going to happen, but to just give it a go. Just try. You'll never move forward if you don't just try.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. Okay, and then before we go to the next question, which is, I'm really thank you very much for your time. I always want to interview you because you do a lot of different stuff, and which is I really appreciate for what you have. And then thank you for your time again. Before we go to the next, the main discussion, so what do you have any help for your son? How is motherhood as a young mom?
It's very challenging. But it's so beautiful. I mean, I'm very blessed. I have my mom, my incredible mom here to help me juggle everything. I mean, I have to obviously work during the day, so she takes him in the day, and I mean, I do the morning routine with him. She takes him throughout majority of the day. I take him in the evenings, but now during lockdown, we share the time, but I'm mostly with him. In terms of support, government support, we are a part of NDIS, which is National Disability Insurance Scheme. NDIS it's a government system which helps you with disabilities, which we can touch on about that after we talk about CP, I think.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's very supportive as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, the next question I'm going to ask you is, which is the main thing? I've seen you on Facebook. You posted to have a petition for CPA, and then that's what the main thing I want to discuss about with you, to give us what's CPA, and then you said your son is diagnosed with this disease. I don't know whether it's disease or I'm not sure. I just want to, I researched a little bit, but I wanted to hear it from you.
So cerebral palsy is actually not a disease or a virus of any sort. It's a group of permanent disorders, It's a group of permanent disorders of the development of movement and posture causing activity limitation that is non-progressive. So there are different levels of cerebral palsy. There's from level 1 to level 5, 5 being wheelchair bound, quite severe. There's monoplegia, which is just a movement of one limb. There is diplegia, which is both two limbs. So my son has diplegia, which is the 2 legs. There is triplegia, which is 3 limbs, and there's quadriplegia, which is the 4 limbs. And what it is just tightness in the muscles. So that's pretty much what it is. It's not like a contagious virus or anything, but it's just stiffness of the muscles.
What age do the children diagnose this?
Yeah, so at the moment, they can be diagnosed at any age. Usually it's diagnosed by movement, a clinical assessment of the movement. It's mainly when the child isn't meeting their milestones. So they're sitting, they're crawling, they're standing, being able to cruise on furniture. If they're not meeting that, it's a bit of a concern. So the best thing to do is go seek your GP and then see your pediatrician as well to do an assessment to see if there is anything that's unusual about the child. So it's really important, if you are worried, to just go seek, professional medical. But what I posted about the petition, so Cerebral Palsy Alliance, CPA, is an amazing group which has actually now released to the federal government to put out mandatory neurological assessment testing for all babies born in Australia from 12 to 16 weeks. So when babies are born, they do hearing tests, they do eye tests, they do all sorts of blood tests, but there is no actual test for cerebral palsy at the moment. Now, what we're pushing for, and which I'm so honoured to be a part of, they reached out to me, and obviously they know I have a young child that has been diagnosed with cerebral palsy. I really want to push the movement and make it a mandatory thing so that children are diagnosed earlier, which leads to earlier treatment, which means they can access NDIS a lot sooner, and earlier intervention means a faster progress. Or, for me, for Kingston, he wasn't able to sit up straight on his bottom with legs out when he was 6 months. Now, when I followed YouTube, raising my son, YouTube was my best friend. I looked at every week to see if he was reaching every milestone. From 6 months to 9 months, he wasn't reaching those. I started to worry a little bit. Obviously, his birthday being in November, that's the busiest time of the year for me for my business. So I didn't really have a lot of time to, go to the hospital or to the doctors and get, seek medical advice. Before I knew it, he was 1. On his birthday, I realized he's not crawling yet. He's not standing yet. This is a huge concern. So we went for his immunization at 12 months. And at the time, my pediatrician, he did a small assessment in his legs and noticed that there was stiffness, which was my concern since 6 months ago. But I didn't actually make it a thing because everyone told me, don't worry, it happens in its own time. Every child's different, which is correct. But as soon as something is a concern, seek advice. That's my biggest advice. So once he has noticed the stiffness in his legs, he then recommended me to go seek Children's Westmead Hospital, where they did a real analysis, a proper examination of his limbs, and referred me to, they did a pre-diagnosis. Then they sent me to the early childhood intervention, which is in Prairie Wood. They specialize with children under the age of 2 with CP. Okay. Now, I came into a room with 5 incredibly knowledgeable women. Each of them specialized in a different area, whether it's neurological, speech, all different areas of the child's development. And that's when I got the official diagnosis. Now, Kingston, he's a beautiful boy. He's happy. He's very smart. He's healthy. He eats well. He sleeps well. He's just not able to walk at the moment. So it's going to take a lot of time. We are now doing regular physiotherapy every week. We do speech therapy once a fortnight, and we do occupational therapy once a month, and that's for his hands. So just in case, CP can actually affect different parts of the body, and it's different for everybody. So there's not one for all. You have to seek, medical professional advice for every child.
As you said before, for Kingston, if he gets diagnosed like 6 months ago, like you said, you were busy. Do you think would be any difference?
Yes, I believe that we would have had earlier intervention. The child's brain is most easily manipulated and easily changed at an earlier age, and he's still within that range. But I think to have treatment earlier on, it's a lot easier to prevent, worsened growth, if that makes sense. Yes. So like I said, I'm still really early in this world. I'm still open to learning about it. I'm still understanding it. So what I'm telling you is I've still got so much to learn. Yes. But from what I've been told from CPA, early diagnosis would lead to earlier treatment, and that might make a massive difference in the child's future. He might walk earlier, or they might be able to manipulate the brain so that it sends the right signals down the spine to the legs to tweak it a little bit so they're walking straight. With CP, their gaits change, which means when they stand up straight, their knees might fold in. Yeah. And, when you have treatment earlier due to earlier diagnosis, you might be able to prevent that or tweak that a little bit, which will help them so much more when they go to school or in the future.
Okay. I hope he's going to get the right treatment.
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah. I've actually recently discovered a new therapy called NAPA, N-A-P-A. There's only 7 of it in the world. Most of them are in America, and we are very lucky to have 2 in Australia. One is in Lane Cove and one is in Melbourne. So I'm looking into that now myself. It's a 3-week intensive physiotherapy where it's like 5 or 6 hours a day of therapy. And I've just seen some incredible results and incredible miracles, which I'm looking to getting Kingston into myself. I'm not entirely sure if NDIS will cover it at this point. I'm still doing my research. It is quite costly. It's about up to $10,000 for 3-week treatment. But for when it's your child, you've got to put everything in. I'm never going to give up until he's walking. And I'm determined to do everything I can to help him grow. And I'm determined to help others as well, to have more understanding and education about it so we can help the kids become more familiar with it.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. When I researched about cerebral palsy, it says in Australia, most boys diagnosed than girls.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, which is unusual. I don't know what the reason was. What are the sign is, and there's no symptom, obviously, but the sign is they're not walking. So it's gotta
Yeah, definitely. So the signs are lack of movement in the body. So where, you know, if they're not crawling, if they're not reaching out for things, if they're not able to, you know, point or stand or crawl, they're definitely concerns that need to be looked at. Even in speech or communication, eyesight, emotional emotional intellection. So if they understand whether you're sad or happy or angry, there's lots of different signs, but it's the best to pick it up as early as possible.
Okay. How common in Australia this?
I think I researched recently that it's about 1 in every 1,000 children that are born. There are currently about 34,000 people in Australia living with cerebral palsy. So it's out there, but it's not, I mean, I guess before this all happened to me, I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't aware of it. You know, now Paralympics are on, and the silver medalist of Australia, Isis, she has cerebral palsy, and that made me so happy. It made me so proud to know that she just ran in the Olympics with cerebral palsy, and that gives me a lot of hope, you know, just a little hope that he will walk.
Yes. 100%. If, like you said, if the early information will be the better for the kids. Well, and then I want you to talk about a little bit about the petition. What do you expect, and then how we can get involved, as in even as an African community I'm talking about.
Jump on the CPA site, so Cerebral Palsy Alliance website. There's lots of information there, or jump on my Facebook and have a look. Basically, they are putting forward this campaign. It is called the, where did I put it? The Window of Opportunity campaign. They are putting that to the federal government so they can mandate it for testing for every new baby in Australia. So everyone who has a child in Australia gets a blue book. It's if you don't have children yet, you receive this blue book, which is a medical portfolio of your child from birth till I think about 4 or 5 years old. And in that book, they report everything that they've seen, all their tests, all their vaccinations, their different milestones, and they really want to include the cerebral palsy testing along with that as well. So the more signatures that they receive, I presume it will help the government understand to see how important it is. And for me personally, it would have just saved me a lot of heartache and a lot of, you know, worry for the 6 months that I wasn't aware of the situation of my child, you know. So earlier testing means earlier treatment, and I would have got into NDIS sooner. We would have had him, you know, on earlier treatments and physiotherapy, which might have changed it thus far.
I hope you're doing the right thing, even though it's now. Hopefully Kingston, he will get the treatment what he needs, and then he will be walking soon. For sure, we're going to celebrate that.
Absolutely.
But the last thing I want to ask you is, when it comes to African women or African mother, this is, I know it's very emotional and very touchy part to be a mom, and our culture won't allow us to talk about it.
Yes.
How can we do that? How can we change that?
Look, the first thing to do when you do find out is not panic, you know, understand the situation first. For me, it's, so I would then seek medical professional advice, seek the right group of people to help you within that. So your Cerebral Palsy Alliance, NDIS, they will, for me, they took me on board and they directed me in the process of what needs to be done, and they helped me all the way through. Personally, find the strength, you know, don't be afraid to talk about it. The more you reach out, the more information you'll receive, the more knowledge you'll have, and the more you can share. seek out different Facebook groups, different other people with cerebral palsy, so that you can be amongst them and have that shoulder to lean on. Create yourself a nice support system. So have your family, your friends, your partners all on the same page and understand what's happening. Other things that I would say is find others with similar diagnosis and learn about it and connect. That's really, really important. And know that everyone's journey is different. Everyone's riding a different wave, and you will have some really good days and you'll have some really bad days. Trust me, I've had that. And just cry it out. Feel every emotion. Don't be, closed in off it. Just be open, talk about it. It's really, really important. And I think really dig deep to find the strength and the resilience, because that's something you will have to then teach to your child to face any problems in the future. I think it's really important as a parent to just be as supportive as possible to anything that they choose to do for, going forward, and just be there for them to lean on. Obviously, I'm still in the early phases. He's only 2 years old, so I can imagine when he goes to school, if he has to use a walker, because he will use a walker to assist him now. There may be other kids that make fun of him, but for me, the more we speak about it, the more people will understand it, and the more common it will be, then it won't be such an unusual thing. I think education is the absolute key. And just, always have hope and always have faith. Keep praying, do what you need to do for you, and always take care of yourself as well. If you don't take care of your mental health and your physical and emotional health, you won't be a strong support for your family. So it's very important. Take care of yourself first to be as strong as you can for your child. And just, and talk to us. Talk to me as well.
Yeah, you're very strong, mom. I know for sure you're going to do a lot of things for Kingston and for other kids as well, especially for African community.
Yeah,
for sure you're going to put out there the education and what you learn. I know for sure.
Let's not go back to the old ways, hiding things. It's so important to be open and talk about it, even with your community. There could be so many things. You could miss out on an opportunity to fix the problem or to have treatment. It's not an embarrassing thing, it's not a bad thing to go on NDIS. It's there to help you. It's a supportive system. Physiotherapy is not cheap, and neither is all the equipment out there. So don't be shy and don't be afraid. That's what I would say to the African community.
Yeah. And then for sure, on your Facebook and Instagram, whatever you learn, you're going to share that for sure. I know.
Yes, absolutely.
Our people, they can learn something out of this. I know you are a strong mom, and then you have support. You've got a group of good woman friend around you.
I do. I'm very, very blessed.
Kingston dad around there, and hopefully Kingston, he will get the love and the service what he needs at the moment. And I really, really thank you for sharing this very emotional journey you have. I know for sure there's someone out there that's going to learn from this. And I'm really thank you very much. Is there anything you wanted to tell us or to thank someone or whatever that's for you?
Well, just thank you for thinking of me, and I really hope that we can all continue to share our feelings and what's worrying us, or even to celebrate. It's really important to celebrate every single milestone. The other day, Kingston just ran up a few steps without using his knees to climb up, and you just celebrate it. So firstly, thank you. It's an absolute honor to be here. Like I said, this is the first interview I've had on cerebral palsy about my son. And I think the more I speak about it openly, the stronger I feel as well. I used to just break down and cry whenever I brought it up. But now I realize that it can actually help other people and get a bit more understanding. Kingston's a level 2 in it, and there could be worse stages, but it doesn't mean anything. You just have to support each other, be there for one another, love one another, and just, try and help as much as you can. And massive thank you to my mom. My mom is my rock. She's the best. She has just got my back and just adores Kingston and myself, and I'm very, very grateful for her.
Good. Thank you. Glad to hear that you got the support you need. Thank you very much, Eden, for your time again.
Yeah.
I hope in the future we're gonna talk about what's his progress and the celebration. It's gonna walk Kingston for sure. And then just keep praying and do what you have to do for him and for you and for our African community as well.
And like, guys, if you're worried, you don't know where to start, please feel free to reach out to me and I can help guide you to the right people. Like I said, I'm still very new into this space and I'm still learning, so I can't wait to progress and be more of a service and a help to other people as well. So don't be afraid to reach out. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to put your contacts in my Facebook page as well. And also, it's a Ethiopian New Year coming. It's a it's so it's for the Ethiopian New Year. It's a hope. It's beautiful, and the flower blossom and all that. And then that I hope the New Year comes to your house with a beautiful message from God. Amen. Thank you very much, Eden. Again. Thank you, Mata. Take care. God bless you all. Bye. Bye-bye.